Okay, so here we go with the Arabia Express lower bracket. It's the eliminated players from the first round of the 1600 max bracket getting their own 8-player bracket into semis and finals, and this is the final best of 5. They've been given a draft with 3 bands and 5 picks. It's all Arabia, so they all play on Arabia. Khmer, Aztecs, and Indians, those seem to be Subliminal Lights not wanting to be competitive. Could be that Subliminal Lights is banning these civs to be able to pick more good civs, so to speak. And then there's Berber's Chinese Hans banned by Mandatum, so he wants to be able to play Cav Archers without being up against a good Cav Archer or the ultimate Cav Archer counter civ. Let's find the first game. It looks like we have Lithuanians versus Malians here. Just gonna fix the casting overlay quickly. Best of 5, Arabia. Long text, but it fits just fine. Okay. Let's go. So Mandatum here with the Malians for the first game. I mean, we've had 6 civ bans total, so that leaves 33 civs left to pick. There are 39 civs total by now, counting the expansions. And yeah, Malians here, extra pierce armor on the militia line. They have Farimba, it's a unique technology in Imperial Age as well, which is coming in handy when you want to raid the opponent into oblivion. But even though Malians have good options, you'll often see them open men-at-arms in Volvion Arabia because their men-at-arms are simply harder to handle with that extra pierce armor that they get once the fuel age kicks in. Cynthia, however, with the Lithuanians here, could go for the instant rush if desired. That's not going to happen here as the barracks isn't down, but Lithuanians starting with 150 extra food have a much smoother start, and that also shapes or means you won't need to collect as much food before clicking into the fuel age. So they can have a very nice and smooth scouts opening 18 pop, no problem with that extra food. That's essentially the equivalent of 3 villagers, right? So other civilizations could go, generic civilizations could go 21, but Lithuanians can go 18 pop without having lost food along the way. Uh-oh, dangerous close to enemies easy here. Are we gonna lose some HP though? Mandatum is out real early actually. Blaming is allowed in this tournament. It seems to be, he might actually find a board, but he's also going to find a TC, and this could hurt. Maybe it's just gathering intel here for a pre-milled rush. Didn't even bring the first boar in yet, but it could definitely still be the pre-milled rush here. As Cynthia brings in another few pigs. And looking at Mandatum scouting, by the way, so I found all of the sheep. Actually hasn't located the second boar, unless that's just wandered into the shroud there. No, I think Mandatum actually didn't scout the second boar before moving out, so he probably hoped to find an enemy boar to snipe here. Could take the weak non-moved villager here, but Cynthia is on point. Does not want the villager to go down at this point. Since they are moving back to collected deer, Mandatum could also block that by keeping his own scout close. Looking at the food disposition here, I think it's going to be the scouts. It's 4 on wood, but that's also affordable with the Lithuanians because you start with that extra food, so I wouldn't think twice about that, even if it's might still be a scouts build order here. Idle TC times at a minimum for both players, so they do remember to spam that TC hotkey and keep producing. No significant advantage for either player. Well, 10 seconds maybe could be considered significant. It is not a pre-milled rush from Mandatum, as brought in the second boar by now, but the population if it goes with the last two villagers to gold, example, for example, villager number 20 and 21, that would be indicative of a men at arms play. So we'll see how that progresses here for our blue friend. Also pushing in the deer, or at least one. If you push one deer with the Malians, you'll have a pretty smooth setup to go 21 top men at arms. But I see more villagers to wood here, so this could also be, it could still also be a scouts build order from Mandatum though. Which, I mean, would keep up with the Lithuanians' mobility, but you'll never beat them to the uptime, so that's a bit confusing to me. We'll see where the last few villagers go here. We're at 19 pop now. And there's the feudal age. Okay, nothing on gold. Has to be the scouts then, from both players. And comparable, or, I mean, manageable uptime for 20 pop here from Mandatum. Alas, the idle TC time a little bit more means that the scouts will be popping out earlier for Cynthia. They haven't been taking hit points lost to their starting scouts at all, and now at the 8 minutes, Cynthia keeps an eye out on enemy base to confirm whether there's some kind of infantry aggression going on here, or if it is just going to be the scouts. I mean, it could technically still be the archers, and just be tasking the villagers to gold later, but I think we're going to see the scouts from both players here. Barracks about to complete with Cynthia. Actually a little bit delayed here. A little bit late to building that barracks. So the advantage of an early uptime here gets cut off by at least a few seconds here. Wait, wood can't... Where's a... No, there's a stable. One villager building it. Let's see for Mandatum. If Mandatum tasks two villagers to build a stable... Oh, feudal age for Stark Age here. That's not good news for Mandatum, but he manages to pull back the deer, so we're all good. Here comes the stable, which Cynthia could still stays in the building foundation. Nice. So the stable completes ahead of well ahead of the Malians after all here. It's going to be a scouts fight. A little bit of a hill advantage there. They're battling for the hill and running back and forth. Could task a villager here to fight and even out that battle. Oh, it goes down actually. Good catch by Mandatum there and gets the starting scout saved at 1 HP here, which means that this guy could still... It's only a starting scout getting auto scout as an ability, so that's one that Mandatum could be using this one for, and then just send the additional scouts forward. Cynthia completing the walls here, wants to play it safe while sending the scouts forward. Mandatum has a long way to go completing the walls, but there's still just a few tiles of quick walls away, but has the spearmen at the ready as well. Walling in the woodline, so the scouts won't be entering easily from this direction, so that's a good defensive measure as well. And as you can see, the weak starting scout has been tasked to scout the remainders of the map. So the scout situation is actually ahead for Mandatum. Must have been getting a kill here. That's probably the starting scout of Cynthia, yeah. So that's what evens out the situation here. Farm situation, 9 farms for Mandatum and about the same for Cynthia here. Still eating the sheep though because of that food boost to begin with the Malians and having pushed at least 1, maybe 2 deer. There are scouts all over the place here. The weak scouts being tasked to scout the map, which I think is fine. Could this be a villager kill for Cynthia? It's close, but it's not happening just yet. And actually delaying that house renders a Mandatum house there for a while, which could... puts a stopper on the villager production and development here. Wheelbarrow coming in for the 13 farms, that's fine. That's usually when you get at around 14 farms, so that timing seems nice. Malians also have access to bloodlines, so if you want to, you could definitely play extended scouts against the Lithuanians, but given the Lithuanians early start, head start to the eco upwards. Oh, missing double attacks actually, but the head start to the fuel age usually means that you'll be on the back foot versus actually strolling in the stone here. How are we supposed to see these things? Ay, 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 finding, revealing the hole there, one that Cynthia will be plugging soon enough, but the scouts are in. They're going to be annoying as heck until that gap can be plugged. If Cynthia even spotted the location. Yeah, this is going to be able to idle a lot of economy for the orange player. It's the kind of thing that gets really tilting as well as this. From this angle, it definitely looks covered, but it's not blocked. How much will these scouts accomplish? Well, they have to dodge spears and scouts all the time, and that takes a toll on your eco tasking at home as well. I love the scouting of Mandato though, using these weak scouts to cover more of the map and learn the location of the relics, some neutral goals, while trying to be on the aggressive forward. Good army movement there from Cynthia as well to pull that weak scout away. And the gap is plugged, so no escape for the scouts. Good spot, good fix by Cynthia. Gonna deal with the scout here without taking any losses. No villagers killed so far this game, as Mandatum was expecting an overdrop here, but will not find a point of entry. Second Sable going up here now, and Castle Age is on the way, so Cynthia seems on point here. 17 farms, 8 on gold. Should be decent for the earlier Scout production. Nice production. Bloodlines coming in while on the way up here as well, but Mandatum just slightly behind here, completing the walls at home as well, even dropping a market to potentially adjust the economy later, but it also claims some position on the hill here, and these small palisades in between to hopefully not risk any holes. There shouldn't be one there. Second stable coming up means the Malians player likely to go for camels here against the Lithuanians. Not necessarily always efficient, because Lithuanians have that relic bonus for their knights and lightis. So in the Castle Age, camels have the speed to catch up with knights and they deal decent enough bonus damage to work as a counter as well, but if you have that extra attack of the Lithuanians, that evens out that camel's advantage, and unless you are at a significant numbers advantage, you can't really rely on that that as a sole counter unit. Hopefully we'll see Mandatum mixing in some monks as well, because you can you want to contest the relics against the Lithuanians, and you could also use monks to heal up your armies or convert enemy cavalry. 20 farms to 17 farms still, is it? For Cynthia. Okay, so far we got better here from Mandatum. 20 on food, 5 on gold. Gold, way too few on gold though now to keep production going. Actually going for what are we going to see here? It's unsurprisingly, it's the knights for Lithuanians, but for the Malians, will it be straight camels here? Yeah, straight into the camels. Playing the counter card as Cynthia is exploring the backside of Mandatum space with the stray scout here. Taking it easy now for Cynthia, but only one villager building it. That's a bit unfortunate. One tile further out and you're fine, but placing it like this, at least your builders are fine. Oh, there's space for more here. Okay, we're fine. 2 villagers building it. They're really mirrored in their playstyle here, except for another TC for Mandatum. Having that wood discount certainly helps out a bit here. And of the Malians. Because the Malians have a... I don't remember the rates. Is it 25% discount of wood buildings or something? which makes them one of the best nomad civs, but they're fairly decent on their Arabia as well, because of their flexibility in the Castle Age. With basically all of the counters, like long swords with extra pierce armor, camels, deal with cavalry. And you have basically all units fully upgraded in the Castle Age as the Malians. It's in the Imperial Age, it dabs off a little bit. Oh, are you gonna get that monk? That's definitely a monk pick off for Mandatum. Also in the military lead here, seem to have a healthier farm setup. Might have helped with a little bit of market tweaking there to boost the numbers. +2 defense coming in, but that's already in for Cynthia. And as we can see that, well, it's not in the relics yet, but upgrades obviously matter as well. And Cynthia is going to get a great engagement here. Yes, dealing with the camels, but Mandatum did have more numbers, remember? It was 9-6 military a moment ago, now it's 3-3. Maybe not a great engagement, but still a good one. And also converting one camel for the Lithuanian Empire to enjoy. Oh, overtop here. Could be an issue later on if Mandatum spots it. Consistent triple wilderness production here now for Mandatum means that the Malians player is up ahead. It's at least in eco, military-wise, they're still matching decently. No monastery for the Malians here, which I don't like. You want to contest at least relics close to you so that the Lithuanians can't easily max out on that relic bonus. If they get 2, that's usually easily manageable, but if the Lithuanians get to 3 or 4 relics, it's going to be so annoying to deal with. They'll take out buildings more easily, and they'll contest camels nicely with their extra attack. No husbandry for the Lithuanians though, so the camels of the Malians will really easily catch up with the knights here. Or should at least, with their 0.30 tiles faster movement rate. As you can see, they're catching up here. Cynthia desperately needs husbandry here. You still won't outrun the camels, but you'll stand a better chance to catch up with the rest of your forces. And have the monks. Uh-oh, another monk going down here. Good spot by Mandatum. That one is dead. But this is not a good engagement for Mandatum. Being a little bit impatient here. Or... yeah, definitely on the impatient side. Allowing for another camel conversion to tick in here. Well, 13, very even military here, but Mandatum still ahead with somewhat consistent builder production here. Now only one TC producing could be a conscious choice to keep up the cannons production here as well. In the military lead, but Cynthia will catch up unless Mandatum keeps spamming that idle TC or TC button. Nice hill here close, or now it's nice. It's not a nice hill if the opponent is able to assume some control of it, but now Mandatum has... the armies here has claimed some presence with the buildings and is able to pull back to the hill to take more favorable fights against the opposing units. Yeah, Cynthia can't really run into that. Has one relic, has +2 attack, but the camels are outnumbering, and as we know, camels do get bonus damage against cavalry, so 9 bonus damage. Not insignificant by any means. And they have the +2 attack as well. Full Castle Age upgrades for Mandatum's camels, keeping that numbers high, consistent. Also, Mining Stone must be thinking about castles on the hills here somewhere. Maybe here to claim the gold, maybe here to fortify the home base even further. Remains to be seen, of course, but KD now on the positive side for Mandatum. They're both at 3 TCs now, so whoever has the more consistent triple TC protection will be able to claim a lead here. Now, Simplia is going into pikemen here. Lithuanians have faster moving trash units. Pikemen and skirmishers, that is. And so going into pikes, not the worst idea ever, but it's hard to afford that in the Castle Age, while in mainly boom mode as well. Good quick houses here to keep the cavalry out, but don't think it's going to be enough. I think they could pass through here now. Yeah, there we go. Camels, not famous for their raiding capabilities though, unless your name is Indians and Imperial Camel, which is arguably an exception with their extra pierce armor and beastly stats against buildings. But they're doing alright here. They're trading 5 villagers now, giving Mandatum the villager lead back, albeit marginal here. It's still only 4 villagers. So that TC production is still better for Cynthia here with the 3 TC. Second barracks going up here as well, but the food economy is worrying. The farms are getting raided heavily here, and that means that mass pikes are still a while away for Cynthia here. Getting the upgrades though, so the plan definitely being full pikes here for at least a while, as the second relic is being brought in, but Mandatum spots it and snipes another monk. 100 gold more down the drain. Actually positioned the scout here to guard 1 relic as well. It's still only 1 relic for Cynthia. It should be 2 once the monk pops out. And Cynthia doesn't have them scouted. Alright, but it's still going to be 2 relics for long-term cavalry investment here. Now full pikes against the full camels, which makes sense. Mandatum reacting now by going into squires and plans to go into some kind of infantry here as well. Probably the swordsman line would make sense, but you could go into pikes as well. The issue being that Malians don't get halberd deer, so might as well, if you're going for infantry here, you might as well go into swordsman, since you have the food and gold eco to benefit for it anyway. Just try a little bit of an engagement there. Probably has a look at the upgrades of the pikemen and realizes this is not worth it to waste my camels for that. Ooh, Cynthia applying some pressure now with the forward castle. Mandatum, however, on the way to the castle Imperial Age and has been mining stone all the way. I don't know where that stone went. Must have been sold maybe for gold, for imp here, because I don't see any castle anywhere. I don't see any additional TCs. That stone has been sold. We could actually look at the market stats to confirm buying stone has become more expensive, so someone sold for sure. But still mining stone here, so eventually Mandatum might be able to get a castle up. And with the Imperial Age advantage, you'll also, I believe, Malians get bombard cannon as well, so that would also be an option to deal with this forward castle. No reason to panic really, but Mandatum doesn't see it going up, so that castle is not going to reveal itself until it's completed. TC number 4 for Cynthia as well, playing into even more economy there at home. It's currently at 91 villagers, still in the castle age, so another TC delays that Imperial Age even further if you keep producing villagers. While with the Imperial Age, Mandatum has the longswords, will be able to go into 200 swordsmen and champion, and also has pierce armor, 3 pierce armor, extra pierce armor for the infantry units once the Imperial Age set kicks in. That infantry investment is also hidden, so Cynthia, I believe, cannot see that switch has been made yet. That's going to obliterate the pikes here, especially with the Imperial Age upgrades. 200 swordsmen clicked immediately here. And the knights burst in, that's fine, but once 200 is in, I think, even though cavalry counters infantry to some extent, the 200s will be able to clean it up, and they'll definitely slay the pikemen. University is here, so chemistry definitely an option for Mandatum to get bombard cannons out and deal with the castle, unless he just wants to wait for stolen up for a castle. More barracks going up here. It's going to be full on swordsman line now, and why not? The Malis have that beastly pierce armor, 1+5. Even without plate barding in, once plate barding is in, that's going to be 1+6. 7, sorry, 1+7. And here comes Arsenal. Maybe it doesn't even need siege. Unless Cynthia gets murder holes here, this castle is actually going to be slain by, or taken down by the infantry mass, potentially. You get close to the castle with the Malian's champions, because they have that extra pierce armor, extra plus 3 pierce armor. Most of them will survive all the way up until the castle. It looks to me like Mandatum is mainly... it's not hidden away anymore, the castle can see them. But now moving in right before the champion upgrade. Maybe a little bit impatient here, but it should be fine. The military count is about 10 ahead for Mandatum, and still got that Imperial Age advantage with Cynthia at 47 military total, but pikes won't really cut it anymore here with this mass of swordsmen on the field. There's the castle from Mandatum as well, has been binding stone consistently for a while now. Might or might not queue a treb. I guess the champions will, with arson, will deal nicely with this castle anyway. 6 bonus damage against building now. Yeah, this is looking rough indeed. That forward castle just melts to the champion, as will the forward stables. Pikeman won't work anymore, of course. If Cynthia gets to a huge mass of Cavalier with 4 relics, then they still stand a chance against the champions, but we now have 5 stables consistently producing the champions from Mandatum. The population is about 30 ahead total, and that's mainly the military conscription from the castle as well to further boost the production speed and also upgrade speed from military buildings. And just now Cynthia hits Imperial Age. It does have the economy to support Cavalier and Plate Barding upgrade, but does also not have a counter prepared to the champions mastering it. 73 champions. Mandatum is closing in on PopCap, and even with Cavalier kicking in here, I don't think Cynthia can muster enough numbers in time to deal with this. The buildings will be going down at a rapid pace with these units that have arson in, and the cavalry numbers, they just aren't there. Even Geppettos are being added now, and that's a unit that Mandatum could use to counter any infantry units that Cynthia would send to the field, like their own cavalry units, or sorry, their own champions, for example. The Geppettos should deal fairly easily with that. First game goes to Mandatum 96-7. Let's have a look at the stats. Yeah, both getting wheelbarrow ahead of Castle Age here, indicating their knights or rather cavalry investment. Aside from double flags a bit on the late side for Cynthia, compensating with that Bozo later on, so their eco upgrades timing is comparable as well. That hurts though, that late double bit compared to the opponent for the wood income for farms and whatnot. Mandatum here, better economy leading into the Castle Age, arguably taking some better fights all the way as well, or maybe this is just a technology chart, or yeah, anyway. Just generally keeping ahead there from mid-feudal all the way to the end. Seemed one step ahead in the transitions in armies, and hid that infantry investment well away as well. Let's go to the draft and just cross out Malians winning this one against the Lithuanians. A healthy mix of cavalry and archers here for subliminal lights left, while Mandatum seems heavy on the cavalry most of all, although Byzantines and Sicilians could also go arbalest. We'll see. Second game is going to be Franks vs Cumans. Ooh, interesting. So Mandatum here with the Cumans, he has a discount on stables and archery ranges in Stables and archery ranges now, so humans pay only 100 wood for their stables and archery ranges. It essentially makes double stable scouts a viable opportunity, saving that 100 wood total for those two production buildings. However, humans could also play one stable and then just hoard enough wood to drop a second TC and play extended fuel age with double TC support. Also an option with one stable scouts or archers or whatever you want to do. You could also do quadruple fuel age archery ranges if you'd like to just spice things up a bit. Humans tailor-made for extended fuel age or just a fuel age boon to with your second fuel age TC as the only civilization that can do that. Cynthia with the pranks, classic cavalry civ there, and that's usually what they will be doing. You could probably consider opening a drush here to make sure that, or to delay the humans' expansion. If you go for men-at-arms, I fear that's a little bit too late to effectively delay human second TC or whatever plans they might have, but Rush FC comes to mind here, although this map isn't the easiest ever to wall. These ponds can be deceiving, but I guess you could work it out somehow. And if you do Rush FC with the humans and they have been planning and are doing an extended village, you're nicely set for your stronger Catholic units to punish that boom. Even though the humans will establish a massive eco lead with their 2 TCs, you could even out that with your Castle Age aggression if you go for like a Rush FC. Naked FC of course an option as well, but probably the humans are going to field some Feudal Age armies here anyway, so it's not really an option. Looks to me like Manhattan wants to open the scout here, at least from the wood disposition here. Depends on where the next villager is going. 3 on wood, typically indicative of scout. Even 2 on wood these days could be indicative of scouts from cavalry civilizations. I didn't find the last 2 pigs there. A bit unfortunate in the scouting for Manhattan, but with any luck we'll be going exactly there now for the scouting overview. Last few pigs being brought in here. Now Cynthia is moving straight out to try and locate Mandatum's base here. Second boar being brought in, pig still being eaten as well, and somehow misses this. How? Oh, it's so unfortunate. That's like one tile away. One tile away, and now Mandatum thinks the sheep might, or pigs rather, might be over going back to it. So it's going to find them in the end. Pushing in the deer again to further boost the food. And 19 pop is from Mandatum could just be a second TC build here, but the wood count doesn't really suggest that. No barracks going up just yet, no fuel age click just yet. So I don't know why I'm talking about uptimes, but here it is. It's going to be 20 pop up for Mandatum, or is it 19? 19 it is. Well, Cynthia is the one going 20. Pretty classic scouts build, 20 pop just fine with Franks with their eco bonus of instant farm upgrades. And looking at the idle timings here, Mandatum with higher idle TC time again means that uptime advantage is cut off a bit. There's, I said 20, it's 21 pop, it's 21 pop versus 19 pop here, so Cynthia still, even with 0 idle TC time, is roughly half a minute behind Mandatum to the next age. Which means that Mandatum, if the plan is a barracks here, is the scouts here, then Mandatum would be able to get the first scout out before Cynthia, but looks like it's just a straight second TC here, which seems incredibly greedy. That's a lovely spot, but it's also going to take forever to build it with only 4 villagers. If Cynthia spots this, then the very first few scouts should definitely be going over here. Okay, 8 villagers, that's more like it. That's more like what you usually see. Then with feudal age in, the scout on Mandatum immediately goes to hit Cynthia's scout. However, Cynthia has more hit points being the Franks, and should get a better trade here. We'll be looking for that second TC spot, maybe. No army, just second feudal TC. Incredibly greedy, and the berries are exposed, so that's not going to help you very much if the scouts come your way. However, a couple of sheep, pigs rather, finally about to be spotted over here, so that allows you to collect food safely for a little while longer, until you need to seed farms or go to the berries. Barracks coming up, but Cynthia is on point. It's going to delay that significantly with the scout. And that's just the barracks, which means that if Mandatum was planning scouts at all, the stables will need to go up as well. This probably just spear defense to protect the exposed resources that are not next to a TC. 2 town centers producing here now, and some panic walling in towards the TC here as well to limit the approach, the damage of the approaching scouts. 3 scouts and counting for Cynthia. Just has to keep the feudal age aggression up here, or aim and transition for a faster castle age, because Mandatum is going to claim a serious equal lead with double TCs to 1 here, if Cynthia doesn't even out that situation. He's going to spot the second TC though, so that confirms that this is what the Cuban's player is going for, not on the berries anymore. You can't hit that. 1 exposed villager in the back, not spotted by the scouts here. Now wanting to hit the woodland. At least 1 exposed villager. Oh no, finds the way in on the woodland. Nice. Obviously, Mandatum can afford to to fight this off with villagers. There's more villagers to come from the TCs, at least if the food eco allows, but only 7 on food now for Mandatum. Being off berries really hurt here. In the meantime, just taking all the time in the world to wall off at home, and why not? You know, you're not going to face any serious aggression from the Cubans anytime soon, since they are at 2 TCs and just casually booming away with a minimum of defense here. 2 spearmen, that's going to be it for now for Mandatum. So very exposed villagers here. Is Cynthia going to spot them? At least 1. How about these guys? Where are they going? They're just out on a field trip here, apparently. Finding their way back into the wood. Oh, man. They didn't understand that the palisade was broken here, so they took the long way around. It could have been deadly to the Red Scouts out on the field, but apparently not this time. So Cynthia chooses to play extended feudal age here. I think that's decent, getting forging to more easily snipe villagers. It's still open down here on that piece, but seeing an exposed villager, that's a better target for Cynthia. Being chased by spearmen here now, but with forging about to kick in, that should be an easy kill for these scouts. There they go. Gap being plugged, so woodline almost safe here now. We'll need the palisades on this little oasis as well to really deny scouts entry. Will they actually break through here? Nah. It's Cuban palisades. They have more hit points as well. That's not going to happen. Defense coming in. Franks don't get bloodlines, so for Franks, these scouts are basically fully upgraded now. Nice and healthy farming economy going on at home for Cynthia. They both have double-little horse color, so no significant difference there. But going to cold now means that Cynthia is aiming for the castle age, and since Mandatum keeps creating villages out of 2 TCs, that castle age transition is going to happen a lot more. Should happen quickly, more quickly for Cynthia. Should be earlier. Good sniper farm here. Good snipe. That's 60 wood down the drain from Dalton, who is stretching it a bit maybe here with the wood count for this extensive farming. 11 on wood. And now Walling as well really wants to wall up that base and keep the mobility out. But in the meantime, look at this Cynthia with 19 on food, 5 on gold, going to prepare that Castle Age transition, getting dangerously close, and Mandatum nowhere near. We'll commit to Walling, yes, but Cynthia could just add some siege, add a ram, add scorpions to deny re-walling and keep Spearman from hitting the inevitable Franks Knights here. I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing the Franks Knights. Not to mention that Cynthia could mine stone as well and just pop a defensive, offensive castle with the 25% stone discount for castles that the Franks have. There we go, there's the Castle Age click, going to reach the Castle Age at just after 21 minutes here. Perfectly respectable uptime after having invested into multiple scouts here. 20 on the farms, 8 on gold. Also keeps adding scouts while going up here, that's nice, adding more units to keep the aggression up, because the base is indeed open. If you take the hill advantage here, you'll fight spears more efficiently as well. But the numbers are there, the upgrades are in, shouldn't be an issue. With only, there are 5 spears total for Manatum, but the walls are not complete, so with that Castle Age kicking in, that's going to be a big issue for the humans. That's a nasty hill here as well, you could use to drop a castle or the siege workshop to push the buildings with the mangonels from a distance. Only 3 spearmen left from Mandatum. Really try to get to that Castle Age here as well. Obviously has an equally, but that's also not significant. It's 49 villagers to 41. If you look at the idleties time, that's way lower for the Franks player here, looking for revenge after the first game that went into Mandatum's hands. Every villager snipe counts, and it's going to even out the eco situation. Cynthia floating lots of wood here could drop 2 more town centers instantly. Has the 2 stables up. And yeah, at least 1. And now the Knight's production is on the way, of course. But +2 defense coming in, the walls not yet complete, where Cynthia could and should keep that gap open. Well, let's a gap next to the market as well. As soon as +2 defense is in, it's much less of a threat for the Knights to sit underneath DCs and idle economy and eventually take out the buildings. Spearman defense is just not going to cut it from an autumn here, especially lacking the upgrades here. The eco is there to go to the next stage, but the second building is not. The stable is just about to complete. But I believe that... Alright, that is the second building. Castle Age now coming for the Cumans player. Maybe, just maybe they'll be able to weather the storm through replenishing builders, but Cynthia is now on 2 TCs as well and has an untouched economy as well. While Mandatum scrambles another barracks up and wants to go into the full spear pike defense here. I don't think that's a proper call while on the way to the Castle Age here, and with a Franks player harassing here with knights inside the base. It's going to be big losses here from Mandatum. And being that much later with the Castle Age also hurts when the eco difference isn't larger than it currently is. Third TC for Cynthia as well, that's obviously not an option for Mandatum just yet. Wood eco 17 villagers on wood, but still on the low end of actual wood for farms or production buildings. You'd want more than 1 stable here with humans, obviously, to keep up with the Franks. Humans do get camels, although they don't get heavy camel. They could use camels for defense in the Castle Age. But Mandatum is getting heavily idled here, and is even going to struggle for resources for more than Just a few units in the castle age. Upgrades, barely affordable. No upgrades in for the cavalry here, and did want to go into spears. But I think we're approaching the point of GG here, to be honest. It's 35 villagers left for Mandatum. Cynthia did a massive lead here. 12 military to 2 as well. Much healthier population and eco development overall, having killed 35 villagers so far and lost none. Castle Age into GD for Mandatum, taking huge losses there. Cuban's plan not working out. 2 TC without any aggression or in particular defense or walls is just too greedy for the Cubans, I think. Especially against a mobile civ like the Franks. But I commend Mandatum for the efforts in the battle of the cavalry civilizations here. Alright, let's cross Frank's winning off the list against humans and see what we have up next. Subliminal Lights or Cynthia in game. Left with mainly archer ranged civilizations now. Well, it's also mainly cavalry for Mandatum. Could make for some more interesting matchups. Game 3 coming up. Mongols Magyars. Interesting, interesting. So what we have here, oh, we have the deserty style map here for the Mongols Magyars matchup. To suit them both if they want to go for the scouts. The rhinos have 60 war food than the boars, so that's already a honestly a huge advantage for the Mongols, to be honest. So Cynthia with the Mongols here getting an extra food boost off the rhinos, but for both of them it's still extra food. However, Cynthia collects it 40% more quickly. Let's see if they both open scouts here like the first game. Absolutely an option. However, Magyars have other tricks up their sleeve. They get +1 or they get melee upgrades instantly and for free upon reaching each age. So their men at arms is perfectly viable as well and could do lots of damage if you reach the opponent's base in due time before they get there, walling in towards the DC and whatnot. Mongols typically go for the scouts because it gives you a nice economy in the feudal age into the castle age, and you can get that ridiculously early with the Mongols since they have the hunt bonus working for them. However, if you're like me and like to experiment with other types of unit combos, you could also make a real early men at arms with the Mongols. I've done it as low as into 17 pop with variable success rate, of course, but because of that food boost from the hunt and maybe pushing a deer or two, for example, 20 pop men at arms should be easy for the Mongols. Barry's in the back for Cynthia here, which is good news. The golds could be in better spot, but the main goal almost close enough to the... I guess if you place the mining camp here, the TC will actually reach some of your miners, so that's at least fairly easy to secure. For Mandatum, nice back goal, but the berry is much more exposed forward. Not ideal if you want to go for the scouts. It's easier to take you off berries, which will significantly impair your food production needed for scouts and villagers. Mongols also have extra line of sight on the starting scout, but they should have an easier time finding all the resources, been pushing in the hunt here, as should be, with the Mongols only missing the last one, and finding the last few pigs as well. Second, Rhino either delayed on purpose or just not scouted until later here, but it doesn't seem to impact Cynthia's opening here. 4 seconds of idle time only as compared to Mandatum's 9, which is fine as well. They are only 5 seconds apart, which is a negligible difference in terms of uptimes and progression. Pushing deer, however, takes important scouting intel away from you the early game. So for all Cynthia knows, Mandatum could be going for the pre-milled rush here, and then we'll have militia in their face in yeah any moment now. But that's not the case. Mandatum probably planning the scouts as well. Maybe they seem to read each other's plans and just expecting this to be a scouts matchup in the feudal age, which could be interesting with the extra attack for the Magyars, or not extra, but the instant +1 attack for the Magyars, and but the Mongols potentially going up much earlier. We're going to gold here though, so we might just be seeing the Mongols men at arms here after all, and not the scouts. I mean, why make scouts when they're immediately at a disadvantage? Upgrades wise anyway. I guess it makes sense to go for a different approach against the Magyars here. Found the berries. So assuming Mandatum goes for the scouts here, the berries will be the first target of Cynthia's men-at-arms, if it is indeed a men-at-arms. Looking at the gold investment, it could also just be the straight archers. Nope, the barracks is producing the militia. It is a 21 pop men-at-arms here. Pretty common nowadays to go 21 pop almost regardless of your civilization. The eco boost of faster hunt does facilitate your production. Oh, that's one tanky villager taking quite a few hits against the scout there, and now allowed to complete the walling. And barracks going up from Mandatum as well. 40 seconds to go. Actually, they're tied for feudal age here. They're just 1 second apart, really. But Mandatum, however, at one population lower, matching the uptime, could have been half a minute earlier, or 25 seconds ahead of Cynthia. So Village is in, Mandatum getting that instant attack upgrade, pays off, men-at-arms now only 20 seconds away for Cynthia splitting up the units, but with that men-at-arms upgrade kicking in, that scout doesn't stand a chance. It's going to get to snipe Cynthia's scout though, so that's value for the Magyar scout for sure. Pulling it away as well, not fighting trying to hit the men-at-arms before a decent number of scouts are in here. If you have 4 scouts at full HP, you should be able to take decent engagements against men-at-arms with some micro, especially if you have that extra attack or that +1 attack of the Magyars. But we are only with food enough to produce 1 scout here, because the food has been compromised a bit because of the men-at-arms aggression. Cynthia, with the archers follow-up immediately here as well, will be able to send archers forward to deny this re-walling behind and keep the aggression up, deal damage to the Magyars player. There's also 2 builders repairing the palisade, which is probably needed because it's downhill or uphill advantage for the men-at-arms. Now only 1 repairing, but the archer joining in here, meaning that re-walling behind is just not an option anymore. 4 scouts are out, but 1 of them are weakened. Let's see who has the better micro here for the melee units. It's the first hit for Cynthia. Archers are in as well. The scouts will try to focus the archers, but then the men-at-arms can focus the scouts. Reacting to the archer's play with a range, and the blacksmith is gonna get into skirmishers here probably to hold off the archers, and in the meantime the men-at-arms unfortunately are pathing into TC fire, and Mandatum successfully cleaned up the men-at-arms aggression without eco losses. Here comes the stable from Cynthia, has seen the range going up, expecting the skirmishers. One now wants to add scouts to deal with that skirmisher investment. So again, we're probably looking at a prolonged feudal age fighting here. Mandatum slightly ahead, even without killing any villagers, because of lower idle TC time this time around. Cynthia at 50 seconds, not bad at all. However, the farming economy of Mandatum seems more consistent, and depending on the feudal age investment here, Mandatum should also be ahead to the next stage. Scout running in here, getting some nice trades because they have +1 attack from forging. Gold, yeah, 1 villager on the gold gets saved, but that's 3 villagers killed by Mandatum now, suddenly claiming a solid lead here. In addition to that, still lower idle TC time, could hit the woodland as well, but doesn't get every time. The quick houses go up, even if it's on a hill for Cynthia. However, some repairs will be necessary here, otherwise the scouts will break in. Little wave of armies moving in for the counter-attack here. Let's see if they'll still aim for the berries. Probably gonna go for the gold now if they see that gold is being taken over here. Or might want to stay on the hill for easier access to infant. Oh, no, no, no! TC gets garrisoned. I think Cynthia was relying on the situation at home, disrupting the armies forward here. And Hull was hoping to pass through without the TC getting garrison there, but pulls the armies away again. Preserves some of the archers. Did lose a spear and then 3 or 4 archers, I think, but now just pull them back home to clean up this mess of scouts and replenish the numbers to hit the opponent again with a stronger army the next time around. Looks like Mandatum managed to get the farm snipe in as well, so that's 60. Oh, sorry, yeah, 60 wood lost for Cynthia. Oh, weak villager. That's gonna go down to the scouts for sure. If Mandatum sees it, he is indeed attacking the weak one. Could get 2 kills here, and yeah, we'll get only the 1. So a good save by Cynthia there. Now has the armies at home to clean up as well. Farming economy still healthier for the Magyars, and look at this, missing only 100 food-ish now to go up to the next stage. Has both building. Mandatum is going to start pumping out the knights in about 3 minutes. Scouts and skirmishers still make sense against the current combination, spears and archers. But the stable is up. We'll probably see a second stable as well. Well, fletching is coming in. That's essential for the range of the skirmishers and archers, of course. But I think this is going to become knight skirmisher play in the castle age, and that's going to be tough for the current Mongols army composition to withstand. Still not even a castle age click by Cynthia here. 150 food or so to go to get to the next age. That should mean at least 1.5 minute lead to the castle age for Mandatum, probably longer, probably more. And I'll keep an eye out if there's a second stable being added, but currently that's not the case. Could be a wood issue after having invested into skirmishers as well. Ooh, woodline is overtopped. Let's see Cynthia's reaction time here. If get in! It's open. Oh, come on. There we go. In on the woodline. Oh, these overchops, so annoying. Cynthia investing into the archers here, but risks losing those while on the way to the castle age with the now bloodlines coming. Yeah, GG is called. Too far behind. Still 1.5 minutes to go, and having lost 6 villagers as well, not being able to pull off the counterattacks. Cynthia taps out, calls it. Let's move on to the next game after a look at the stats for this one as well. 12.5 KD, nothing too crazy here, but good Magyar's performance by Mandatum. So similar eco upgrades here, both going for the extended feudal age here, and mainly archers, skirmishers, seen some scouts as well, of course. Cynthia actually with the highest max villagers, but losing some numbers, not doing them any favors. So that would be Mongols losing 2 Magyars. And we're going to see Mayans, Britons next, or Mayans or Britons next, and Sicilians or Byzantines. Saving the Byzantines almost for last here, but it looks a bit from Mandatum here. Mayans, Sicilians, that's an interesting one. Sicilians classified as an infantry civilization, kind of, where or is it cavalry? I don't even remember. While Mayans definitely likely to play the archers. So game 4 here, we might actually be looking at the full 5 game set here, which is nice. With the Mayans for Cynthia, that's a typical try-hard Arabia. So probably still one of the absolute best ones with their 15% laster longing resources, or longer lasting resources, as I should say. And cheaper archers, Eldorado Eagle Warriors with extra hit points in the Imperial Age. Sure, they lack cavalry, but as long as you have gold and are able to make archers or eagles, you should be just fine as Mayans with your extended economy inviting to camping as well. They have cheaper stone walls as well. I believe that's the team bonus, so they should be easily be able to keep any enemy aggression mobility especially out. Sicilians have arbalests in their arsenal. They're missing the last defense upgrade, but otherwise got most of the upgrades in. They get siege ram, which could be used against Mayans archer masses, and but Sicilians here, they will be going for Halberd Cavalier eventually if this turns into an Imperialist fight, I think, because they have a unique technology for the Cavalier, giving the Sicilians Cavalier extra melee and Pierce defense, so essentially a paladin substitute for the Sicilians, very strong units. They also build castles at light speed, so even if you have only 4 villagers building a castle, it's going to complete 100% faster than other civilizations would do. So you could use that to make your panic castles or forward castles even to apply pressure on the opponent. Mill going up now, so no pre-milled rush for either player. It's even less likely for Mayans starting it slightly, or is it just slightly less food maybe? 50 less food. Yeah, the mill going up. I guess you could play like 23 pop Minotaurs with Mayans if you keep the idle TC low enough, because Mayans start with 1 extra villager. That's another addition to the eco bonus that I intend to forget to mention, but that's also significant. Obviously, having 1 free instant villager working for you is instantly from the start of the game. Much like the Chinese bonus, they get 3 additional villagers from the very get-go, but that's a punishment. They are with no food to start, and also 50 less wood, I believe, for the Chinese. So they get punished for having extra workers to begin with. Mandatum seems to enjoy the scouts play, so I wouldn't rule out Sicilian scouts here. You can't easily defend with spears or counter units in general against the Sicilians, because they take less bonus damage from the counter units, any counter unit. So Sicilian archers take less damage from skirmishers, and Sicilian scouts or knights and whatever, they take less damage from the spearman line, and etc. etc. Any unit that's considered a counter unit will deal 50% less of their bonus damage to Sicilians. To the Sicilians units they are supposed to counter. Both with some mini walling at their home bases here. Cynthia has actually not double checked that this is covered by wood, but it's fine. There is a tree there. Setting up for the walls, easy little house or building foundation over there. Did not find the last two sheep, which might hurt a little bit. But not the Mayans, of course. They could get lame the boar and lose 3 sheep and still be fine because of their longer lasting resources. Moving out now, seeing the barracks, that could of course mean a drush. A late drush is on the way, so Cynthia will need to scout further to confirm, but it is the Sicilians and the uptime is about to kick in at 9:20, so that absolutely suggests scouts with feudalation. Perfect timing there by Mandatum. In the feudalation, scout has more attack than the Eagle Scout, so you could take the engagement and you should be able to win, even if the Eagle Scout has more attack. But taking some uphill damage there, that's a fight that Cynthia could have in theory won, I think. There's the village for the Mayans as well. Should mean the archers 2 on gold only. We'll need at least 3 on gold for 1 range. We'll need 8 on, or 6 on gold technically for double range production. But if you're going to afford the upgrades as well, you'll need 8 on gold usually total to be on the safe side. Double ranges it is though, that's not an uncommon Mayans play. I don't know why Cynthia pulled the villagers away from the range to DTC, but yeah, these are going to complete in due time, and the walls as well. It's going to be tough to deal with the Mayans here now with the walls almost about to complete before Mandatum even moves forward. I feel like it is a mistake not to send the first scout out already, because at least with 20 pop or whatever it was, because that gives the opponent time to wall off. And Mandatum sure knows the location of Cynthia here, needs to move out, cannot wait for numbers before engaging here, then you'll just pound away at Mayans walls and you'll need to add a donjon or whatever to try and, or add archers of course, to try and break through the walls and deal damage after all. So Mandatum being a little bit too passive here. Gold here, safe behind the walls for scouts, but also very much towerable from the hill. In fact, if you get the donjon up here as Mandatum, you could just keep playing extended feudal mines on stone and keep placing donjons, and the Mayans will actually struggle against it. Of course, they could make towers of their own, but look at the stone positioning here from Cynthia. The stone over here, and the stone here, so the stones are horrible for tower defense for Cynthia. Cynthia will need to buy stone for more than one tower, or mine it exposed to the left hand side and hope that the opponent doesn't catch you. So And Mandatum not getting into the scouts here will need to think of a plan B. Knows the gold location. Has also found secondary and third gold location, which are horrible for the Mayans here. So the clock is ticking now. You can't let the Mayans get away with the cheaper archers. You want to obstruct that. And again, this hill is just a perfect spot to try and pressure. Either with ranged units like transition into archers, which seems to be the plan. Oh wait, skirmisher defense, never mind. The archers to harass the gold economy so they can't field archers even with their discount, or dungeons. Add sergeants, use the sergeants to build more dungeons, and you don't really need to use villagers forward to build these buildings. They could go back home to work, but defensive here by Mandatum. Works well against many civilizations, but not against Mayans on this stage. You're essentially leaving Cynthia alone to double up on the army production. She's even adding, or she or he, I don't know. They are adding Eagle Scouts to complement the archers, so that skirmisher defense isn't really an option for Mandatum either. Trying to break through the scouts here, but that's just an easy house wall away from Cynthia at home base. Now runs into the dungeon, so can not engage from that angle. But with some more scouting over to the right hand side, there are other points of entry for Cynthia until Mandatum can get the walls up, that is. But the eagle may be able to spot that in time and deny the walls here so that the archers can enter. Scouts actually destroying the house, so the villager there just in time to get the house foundation up. Alright, I guess Mandatum is completing the walls as well. Now left side, only exposed side here, Cynthia with 55 villagers and house, but going to the castle age as for wheelbarrow, so that's not going to impact anything else than the archers production here. Massive, not massive, but more than decent lead to the castle age here for Cynthia. It's going to be about 45 seconds probably, compared to Mandatum, depending on when they click up. And that means that that crossbow upgrade will be kicking in before Mandatum can get to a crucial mass of knights, or rather to have knights to contest the archers, or to get elite skirm. Possibly you don't want to go into elite skirm. I think though it's an expensive upgrade. With the numbers now, it's actually warranted. It's 10 skirm, so yeah, maybe Mandatum will go for the elite skirm approach here against the Mayans. Forward, Castle Age as well on the way here. There's one stable up from the scouts, but might see another one and see Knights skirm, Knights elite skirm even maybe, if the eco allows, against the Mayans triple range crossbows here. But looks like we'll be seeing more eagles as well, because there's a second barracks going up here. Probably a reaction to the skirmishers mass scene of Mandatum over here. So 45 seconds to go, 1:38 to go. So comparable uptimes. Better eco and population for Mandatum though, which could pay off if there's a second stable and knights with +2 added here to complement the skirms. Yeah, in fact, adding more eagles here for Cynthia has that main gold still unobstructed, so that allows for an easy eagle switch, of course. Crossbows upgrade is in just as at the same moment Mandatum gets to the castle age. Now tries to break through here with the scouts and skirmishers. At the very least idles quite a bit of economy here with the panic walling coming in for Cynthia, but elite skirm not in, Bodkin coming in first, which is the most important one. But since this mass of crossbows is already in with Bodkin, and all these skirmishers will melt to the better upgraded armies of Cynthia here. They don't have ballistics yet though, so it's harder to hit moving targets, but as they get closer, they'll be able to take out some skirmishers before the upgrade. Maybe... Oh, Mandatum gets away with most of them, actually. And Elite Skirm comes in as well, so... But shouldn't be an issue for Cynthia, to be honest. There are Eagle Warriors out of 2 barracks, and how many Eagles? Let's say Cynthia gets to 8 or 10 Eagles here. That should be enough to deal with these skirms and the armies currently on the field. Again, Mandatum playing this too passively, I think. Overchop on the Woodland could be dreadful against these Eagles that have +1/+1 upgrades, at least. Oh, you don't need to break in here. Go further down. Go kill. Another TC coming up here. Good. Okay, that's going to protect the farms. It's still a good TC. Keeps most of the farming eco safe here. And it's Sicilians villagers building it. That's virtually undeniable by enemy armies. Eagles might get some kills here, but that TC is going up. And the villagers will just garrison. And even if the Eagles have pretty decent pierce armor, they will take some hits to the TC fire. Cynthia needs to add some siege here to keep pushing. The TCs are not going to allow the crossbows to engage close enough. As well as the Eagles, they can't camp underneath TCs forever, at least not until they are in like 25-30 in mass. Then they could sit underneath TCs and take him out. Builder counts surprisingly even here, and I guess that's because of Cynthia's earlier cast stage here. Mandatum with 2 TCs now, pumping builders out of both of them. And Cynthia about to complete, or just completed the second TC on the gold as well. So now the gold salvage, it's safer from raids or even for the castles of the Sicilians here. Crossbows and Eagles chasing here. The Eagles should eat the Elite Skirmers, and they're definitely denying the Elite Skirmishers from engaging against the crossbows here. Very decent army mass for both players, however Cynthia has the more numbers overall, not producing at all, while Mandatum isn't doubling up on the production of the Knights here with 2 stables. Eagles running in again to take out the Elite Skirms at close range. This stroke point's not doing either player any favors, maybe. I guess it helps keeping Mandatum's numbers safe here, but the aggression in numbers here. Cynthia has seized army production overall, just booming away here with 3 TCs and establishing a villager's advantage as another TC goes up on the gold. Mandatum could respond to the Eagles with First Crusade, if he ever gets a castle up and gets to that research, but with the crossbows out and about, unless the sergeants are with full upgrades, even 35 sergeants won't necessarily make a difference here. Another range here, so it's going to be mainly skirmishers and also the knights here to deal with this pressure. Oh, but that's not a good fight without the elite skirmishers. So you need the elite skirmishers in. It's probably the knights that are on stand ground and run into chase armies. Bad fight from Mandatum, unfortunately, losing almost all of the knights here. And that could be a game-losing fight right there, being outnumbered in build 2 now. And actually establishing a builder lead, funnily enough. But it's marginal. Ballistics coming in for Cynthia here. Eagles still producing out the 2 barracks as well, with no more crossbows for the time being, probably because of seeing the mass of elite skirmishers here now going over to the stone that's been scouted earlier. Might or might not see in the fog of war that this is being collected. And this could be quite a few kills for Mandatum, who doesn't have the stone for any castle after the TC investments here. I have to say, Cynthia is doing good work at preserving the army masses. They're not as good in the production department, but the Eagles, which is bearing fruits now, it's quite consistent from the stables, and once we break through the foundations here at some point, the Eagles will be able to deal significant damage through raids. TC number 4 coming up for the Mayans as well, so once that one is up and consistent quadruple DT production is in effect, and Cynthia is going to establish a significant equal lead with the Mayans here. Castle going up for the Sicilians. You don't deny Sicilians castles really. There's only 4 villagers, maybe a little bit ambitious by Mandatum here. All he needs to do is task more villagers when this one completes. Cynthia getting good rates against knights here, but will need to back off because this castle is about to complete. Some crossbows will definitely be dying to this castle pyre now once it completes. Yeah, well, 1.5. Nah, that's 2. In the meantime, castle in the middle for Cynthia, protecting this gold over here. Good castle as a point of defense and a point to pull back to preserve armies as the game goes on longer. Also allowing for not too long of a distance to travel for trebuchets when the Imperial Age sets in. Floating lots of wood here now for Cynthia. We'll need to transfer some lumberjacks to gold maybe to even that out. Again, no military production, but no military production for either player. Mandatum basically traded all the armies to get this castle up. Not sure if that was worth it. Stonewall's now going up to the side. That is your best defense against Eagles, but the Eagles are on point. They're going to stop this walling. They're going to get in, and there are 13 Eagles now going to make life quite miserable for Mandatum here. Yes, that castle will go up, but the Eagles will be picking off villagers along the way, unless Cynthia pulls away, which is not the case here. It's ridiculous how quickly Sicilians build their castle. Not any crazy damage taken there. Second castle there for Mandatum, but it also means lots of stone going into, or lots of villagers going to stone to get these castles up. So that effectively delays an Imperial Age transition. Now using the market to adjust some resources to go up here. So the Imperial Age uptimes are actually quite comparable, only half a minute apart. Cynthia with a massive army advantage though. We'll go back to hit the stone here. I guess crossbows could find a weak spot here to enter, either through a house or a palisade as well. But now with Imperial Age 1.5 minutes away, you want to be careful with your crossbow mass. Absolutely don't want to lose those before that arbalest upgrade. But as it looks like it's about to become a full eagle switch for Cynthia as well, so maybe this is intentional. Oh, there's Sandbing, so still getting those upgrades for the ranged unit as well. Eagle crossbow, tough combo to deal with though. Even though Mandatum, as mentioned, has a shortcut through the First Crusade and Sergeants. That in the Imperial Age, if you get to Elite and the proper upgrades, they'll be extremely tanky even against arbalest fire. So Imperial Age is in, now we're going to see a treb right away. Yep, we are indeed. So Cynthia, assuming that earlier Imperial Age to prepare the treb war as Mandatum is dropping more stables, wants to go into the Knights, into Halberd Cavalier here potentially, but army size is of huge significance here. 62 military to 7 here. Cynthia will be benefiting from Elite Eagle Warrior, last military armor as well. Halberd coming in from Mandatum, but really just doesn't have the numbers to justify that. Of course, good production from the stables should be possible with this kind of food and gold income. I don't know why that's so low, honestly. Maybe it's Hauberg and the upgrades taking away lots. I guess rather than Hauberg right away, more Cavaliers would have made a lot more, or Knights into Cavaliers would have made more sense here. Or even First Crusade and the defense upgrade instead to have a response to the Elite Eagle Warriors. Mayans economy, look at this. The Cynthia, of course, spending the resources here, but more than 100 villagers now getting Bracer. Gonna get Arbalest eventually as well, and more eagles are popping out as well. So once the fortifications have been broken here, those eagles are going to basically be in GG for Manatum. Look at the Pierce armor, the Cavalier 2+6 armor. Really paying off. That was like 22 arbs or 20 arbs needing 5 or 6 volleys to take it out. But army numbers, that's the biggest issue here. Economy actually in larger numbers for Mandatum here, keeping that castle alive as well. But now the Eagles find a way in. The palisade is actually broken, and they could even stop the repairs of the castle behind here. How about Cavalier versus Elite Eagle Warrior? In similar mass, of course, the Cavalier win this fight. But more are to come, of course. Elite Eagle Warriors. And actually, if they get Eldorado, they almost match the Cavaliers to hit points. Almost. It's going to be 100 to 140. But Eagles are cheaper in terms of food and gold, so they should be able to outmass the Cavaliers with these. One castle is down for Mandatum, 3 Trebs now pushing as well, but they're hanging in there. Even trying to get the neutral gold to the side here, having run out of gold at home almost. It's very close to being depleted here, and the third one is off limits, obviously. That's why Mandatum is going for the neutral ones. Cavaliers chasing the Eagles, but the Arbs are firing freely at the Cavaliers, and even with Hauberg in, you're going to need pretty significant mass to hold off the push here, as all of the defensive fortifications are going down to what is, admittedly, unprotected trebuchets here. Now, without gold from Mandatum, it is going to run out eventually here with this kind of production of everything. So without gold, no more Cavaliers and no means to deal with the Eagles and Arbs. So Cynthia will just need to replenish numbers. It's full on Eagles by now, and the gold income still more than warrants that. Sending in the traps unprotected seems a bit more risky though, but the armies all around are still dealing with that. 68 to 15 is military situation. The eco situation is similar in terms of villagers. So Cynthia has been killing a lot of villagers here, but now comes a forward siege workshop and Eldorado for the Eagles as well, which will give the Elite Eagle Warriors 100 hit points total. Still peeling the Cavalier numbers here. Never got the villagers over to that side, but looks a bit wants to... Feels competent now, but wants to mine the stone to the side here as well. Could either sell that stone for gold or just get a new castle up. But the struggling to get enough military numbers out here to deal with this, and Cynthia is gaining more and more terrain here, even as a forward siege workshop now, maybe wanting to take into Captram, Siege Ram here to further assist the push here. 30 villagers killed by now, Mandatum subject to heavy raids, and the Eagles are everywhere at this point. 48 Elite Eagle Warriors, and now the Ram upgrades kicking in here as well. Siege Ram shouldn't be too far away from being affordable either. And the GG is called. Cynthia takes the Malians win here, and we're at the 2-2. We'll get a fifth and decider game. This is one I think Army Mass made would have been a lot more important at this point, and Halberg, which is expensive. Of course, it paid off for the Cavalier masses, but if you get the mass first and keep the mass if you can through avoiding fights with the mobility, then maybe we could have been looking at a different scenario here. But if you don't punish the Malians early enough, Mayans early enough, you are going to struggle anyway. They have such a beastly economy. Even collecting fewer resources here with the general setup and army combo was better for Cynthia here. More kills, more buildings raised. Total kills. Oh, total army high, maybe. This is, yeah, well ahead, all the way. So this means we're left with Byzantines Britons for the very last game, actually, and that might have been the idea all along. Because Byzantines have dirt cheap skirmishers, that's a nice way to deal with the Britons. You do get bombard cannon as well, but without siege engineers, so could be an issue to deal with the Britain's range as the game goes on towards the Imperial Age, but it just remains to be seen. We'll hop into the game and see what the outcome will be like. But we're back on the jungly terrain here with the turkeys as their food source, herdable. Sheep spawning fairly far out here, but they're going to be found there. These players have very consistent early scouting, so they will be finding the resources eventually. Britons for Cynthia will definitely want to find those turkeys because they are being collected faster for the Britons. Can actually compare that here with in real time. So 50% faster, right? So quite nice. I think it is at least quite a nice eco boost for early on for the Britons to achieve whatever they want. They could go for a nice and early rush, or they could go men at arms before they transition into the archers, or just go up at 20 population, for example, and start pumping out your archers nice and early, because Britons also produce from the archery ranges. That's their team bonus. Archery ranges produce 20% faster. So Britons have an easy time massing archers. However, Byzantines have cheaper counter units like skirmishers, spearmen, even camels. So they are classified as a defensive civilization for a reason. So we're probably going to see lots of archers and skirmishers this game. No scouts for this one. That doesn't make sense. It's neither player has bloodlines, but of course in theory you still could. You get husbandry in the castle age for your mounted units, and you get almost full upgrades. Byzantines don't get the last attack. That's because of balance reasons, for among other things their cataphracts, which if you get to elite are almost unkillable by anything except mass arbalists with the range and hit and run. Oh, I thought he killed the javelin a bit easy there, but that was thankfully not the case. Nice little farmhouse there, but here comes the mill as well to benefit that one. Two deer have been pushed, so that also gives Cynthia a further eco boost. Gives me an idea that this is either a very early village with that food boost from the hunt, or it's going to be the 21 Popman and Arms again, which we've seen Cynthia perform once already with Mongols, I believe. Oh, bringing the boar. Ooh, blocking the boar lure there. Tries to get the hit in on the boar to actually attempted a lame here, I think, Mandatum, but didn't hit the boar in time. Did not manage to snag that one. Could still try and hit undoomed villagers, but there are two on either side here, so the villagers would just fight back and weaken the scout enough to take the win. Besides, Cynthia has the scout close to home base to prevent lames and to prevent taking damage from the opponent's starting scout as well. Here comes the barracks for Cynthia, and now two villagers likely to be tasked to do gold, so this should be the 21 pop Men-at-Arms. Mandatum just casually strolling in here to confirm, sees that Loom is in, which could be an indication that the Britons are up already, but not quite the case here. Look at the food situation though, perfectly able to click that fuel ledge and also start producing the first militia. Houses aren't going to be an issue here either. And now the scout is forward. I could have tried to take a poke at the villager there, but Cynthia will want to keep this one at as high HP as possible to assist the Men-at-Arms in dealing damage and to not lose the scout, so the scout can be used for blocking the villagers pathing back towards the TC. Takes the engagement against Mandatum's scout here now though, and neither of them taking the hill. Trading somewhat evenly in HP, but Mandatum still ahead until the feudal age can kick in. Mandatum also making the militia here, so reacting to the Men-at-Arms by making the Men-at-Arms himself, but at one villager higher. Nice, denying the small walls on the berries there. The berries being hit by the militia. Still 20 minutes to go, seconds to go for the feudal age, but good aggression by Cynthia here now. Idling a lot of Mandatum's economy that's especially going to be needed for that Men-at-Arms upgrade. That's basically not affordable for a while yet, and there are only two militia out as well. So 25 seconds to go for the Men-at-Arms. Trying a bit of blocking here. It's an elevation advantage. One villager down for the blue player. Here comes the range, and Mandatum is not going to make the skirmishers here, but the archers to clean up the soon-to-become Men-at-Arms. We have to mention though, this base is one big ditch. I think that's the case for both players, though the hills look a bit less prominent on Cynthia's side. Gold is on the hill though, that's not ideal. This is close to a hill, yeah, partly on the hill impact as well. And the secondary gold placements, they are just horrible for both here, but worst for Mandatum. One out here and one over here. Men-at-Arms dodging TC fire and looking for more villager blood here, and Mandatum with the militia of his own here as well to join in for the fights, at least forcing the Men-at-Arms to engage against them. But Cynthia getting good trades here, could use the starting scout to get some pokes in at the archers. Archer trying to clean up the Men-at-Arms here, but is wisely so hunting villagers here instead. Mandatum now losing the second, maybe even the third villager here. Or at least a militia, so no militia counter-aggression. Yeah, 3 villagers killed by Cynthia and 1 weakened here as well. 2 archers and counting, but a little bit too few on gold here for the Britons to sustain the double ranges. The ranges work faster. So that is of concern for, or I mean, you need more on gold here to sustain both ranges producing. The blacksmith is on the way up though, so Cynthia well ahead here in all kinds of progression here. Mandatum doesn't really have the food economy to mass up the skirmishers yet, and will try to make some counter aggression with the other archers here, but will only be met by larger archer mass of the opponent here. So, what looks with Cynthia is actually a bit low on food here, too few berries. on the hill, and if Mandatum hits the berries now, that could really cripple Cynthia's villager production and transition towards fletching to get that upgrade. It's a bit worrying that the Britons are not ahead here, but that's also because of the men-at-arms investment costing a little bit of gold and food. That delays the fletching upgrade, delays the initial archer mass. Sometimes you, or most of the time, you see the pros go just one range after the men-at-arms unless they have some wood eco bonus like the Huns or the Malians. Mandatum can't engage though, just doesn't have the archer mass here. It's one range against two, and I think it's about time for Mandatum to switch into these skirmishers. A mix of archers and skirmishers could be nice here. A little bit of a hill advantage, but I don't think Cynthia minds. Fletching is in as well. Getting that hill elevation will start hunting villagers again, cripple a little bit of that food income, and idle one woodland here. Getting more kills with the uphill advantage. So, fantastic eco KD value here for Cynthia. Certainly knows the way around archers play. Get the value from the archer. It's moving forward here, and skirmishers now in the queue for Mandatum will need to be very patient here and not send in one at a time though. Armor coming in, fetching is in, some of the archers being used on the hill here as well, but Cynthia has been getting amazing value here from the raid forward. Yes, losing the forward archers, but Britons replenish the archers so quickly as well. They are at with double range production going now, and Mandatum finds a woodland to the side here, which Cynthia doesn't have scouted, but that's not a great woodland, and besides there are weak villagers here as well. Great eco advantage should be for Cynthia though, even if that archer's micro takes a toll on the TC production and management. Mandatum moving forward to make some counter-aggression again. Will be able to hit the gold if that's scouted by the blue player. Has it scouted indeed, so might be able to idle the gold, maybe get some kills in as well. However, the current gold situation still allows for archers production, and Cynthia's biggest issue currently is being housed. And army pop comparable here, eco pop not so much, since Cynthia has been getting great value forward. They're basically attacking each other at this point. A second range from Mandatum here. Will the food and wood eco allow for double range skirmishers? Probably, since the Byzantines have them cheaper. And now this little forward army is forcing Cynthia off gold here, which until this army gets cleaned up could cripple the archer production a little bit. So they still have archers in the queue though, so not a big deal just yet. Wheelbarrow for Cynthia, that's going to benefit the farming eco, but it's also going to make it easier for villagers to dodge enemy ranged aggression here, because the villagers start moving a bit faster. But Mandatum is here for the counter-aggression now. Wants revenge, gonna get some kills here, but it's 9-2-1. Cynthia gets away mainly with idle time here, but it's still an annoyance that needs to be dealt with, obviously. And it's also forcing Cynthia to pull the archers back home. Castle Age on the way, while Mandatum is nowhere near that. Could drop a market and trade the resources for a castle. It's rich, but that's also would also mean selling stone. That's Cynthia has been doing that actually, selling stone for gold as the gold access got compromised. Now exploiting the fact that the skirmishers have minimum range and just trading them away with archers. Not the best trade ever, especially since they're Byzantine skirmishers, but you have to get rid of the aggression at home base, obviously. So Castle Age 50 seconds away. If Cynthia just keeps this Archer's Mass and doesn't take an unfavorable engagement here against Mandatum, these skirmishers won't be a threat because you get that extra Britain's range in the Castle Age, +1 range, and you'll also get crossbow and bodkin arrow, which will boost your attack and range even further. Ooh, forward villager. Where are you going? Nice pick off by Cynthia there. Well, the skirmishers just casually stroll in here, and the skirmisher army pops into raid Cynthia's base again. Here comes a stable for Cynthia. I'm gonna make probably one knight or two to deal with these skirmishers, while the archers might as well just go forward. I mean, once Cynthia gets a knight or two out, there's not much the skirmishers can do. A little bit of a panic move here now from Cynthia with a defensive tower on the farms to keep these skirmishers out, overreacting, I would say. These crossbows going forward though, they have that Britain's range, 5+2, no bodkin yet, so the eco has been compromised by the counter-aggression of Mandatum here. Actually getting kills with the skirmishers here, I think. So Mandatum found some weak villagers also on the way to the Castle Age now. It keeps making skirmishers out of 2 ranges. However, extra Britain's range usually means easier sniping of enemy skirmishers as long as they only have the fuel age upgrades. Does he actually want to siege push forward here with the Castle Age? Is this a sneak villager or is it a misclick? It doesn't look like misclick pathing to me. This seems intentional. Skirmishers still not cleaned up, but Cynthia's worker efficiency down to 23%, not bringing in resources here, not able to field armies. 7 crossbows only 2 ranges. Mandatum has somehow recovered from losing 6, 7, 8 villagers early on. And is now actually in a good spot. Better eco going into the Castle Age due to lower idleties time. Got the counters. Sending 5 HP villager forward. Well, I mean, she wasn't 5 HP before she ran into the crossbows on the way, so she's just lucky to be alive. There's the Castle Age for Mandatum as well, and the bodkin coming in for the skirmishers. Elite skirmisher, not quite affordable yet. I think that's 200 wood, 300 wood, 200 gold, or the other way around. So that's an expensive one to get, but definitely justified for these massive skirms. Crossbow, I don't quite understand for only 3 archers. Crossbows, Byzantine's crossbows against Britain's doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You might as well cancel crossbow and get elite skirm instead. I don't understand that choice, but maybe plans to go crossbow and arbalest in the long run and benefit from that cheaper Imperial Age. That might be an option of. Okay, she's going to build a sneak base at some point. Elite Skirm coming in. That is Britain's kryptonite in many tenses. Gold being compromised here by Mandatum though, as will the range potentially. Second TC for Cynthia at home base. Should keep skirmisher raids away and also fairly close to the stone, so we might see a defensive or forward castle at some point. Now the knights finally found this woodland to the side and going to find some easy kills over here. Well, the crossbows are looking for a point of entry into Mandatum space, but Elite Skirm is in, so aside from the fact that Britons can use their extra range... Oh, no, 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 gonna lose all the crossbows to Elite Skirms here now. Cynthia will not be able to escape in time here, as Mandatum has the elevation advantage and a sizable chunk of Byzantine's Elite Skirmishers. Well, Mandatum definitely with the army advantage here, even if it's mainly elite skirmishers. They are about to be fully upgraded except for ballistics. And still has that sneak with her. He probably just tasked her when she was attacked and then forgot about her, but she could still serve a purpose forward at some point. Crossbow out of 3 ranges now, skirmishers out of 2 ranges as well. And really looking to dominate with armies here. Mangonel defense from the Britons. Now that's a hit on the elite skirms, but they have great defense upgrades, so they shouldn't be in the danger here. I feel like Mandatum needs some forward siege now though. Add some rams, add some mangonels even, but that's subpar against Britons to go for mangonels, of course, since the Britons' crossbows outrange mangonels. But if you add some rams, you could take out production capabilities, find yourself an opening into the enemy base. Crossbows back on the main gold of Mandatum here. The thing is, Byzantines don't really need gold to be able to field army and deal with the Britons here. He's pulling the armies back home. He has the mass of elite skirmishers and crossbows here. Gonna take some villager losses because of the crossbow raids of the Britons here. This is exactly what Cynthia wants as well, to pull the aggression away from home base. Cynthia has the eco advantage, 67 to 53 villagers being 1 TC, 2 TCs earlier on here, or just, yeah, definitely earlier with the second TC. Now the third one is coming as well. Should help Cynthia keep that villager lead, because the food eco absolutely allows for consistent villager production. Crossbow or army size in general though is of concern here. 3 mangonels defensively could get some epic splatter shots in on this crossbow skirmisher army, of course, but they are going in unprotected. Never go in unprotected with siege. That is going to backfire in most cases. Let's see though. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I take it back. I take it back. That's a fantastic engagement from Cynthia. Getting, yeah, I don't even know how many kills that was in those shots, but that was like half the armies of Mandatum gone in a split second. 3 mangonels, you don't out micro that with your range unit. No matter how good your micromanagement is. Now the forward villager has been noticed. She's being put to use. She's placing the Byzantines outposts out on the field now. A bit too early for an outpost rush, but it provides some nice vision on the map here, on the neutral resources, and the stone over here to get an idea as to whether Cynthia is going for any castles or something like that. Mangonels looking for more damage. Oh, don't tell me you're going to lose even more. Nope, Mandatum is looking now, knows that there are 3 mangonels out on the field. Might want to invest into a stable and some scouts or or knights or even camels to deal with this. Byzantines have teamed camels, and camels can deal with siege as well, since the siege has minimum range. So it's Knight Mangonel crossbow from Cynthia here, looking to get those splatter shots and actually getting them as well. Mangonel micro on point here for the red player. 4th TC going up as well, and Mandatum doesn't seem to know what to do here. Just tries to flex that micromanaging with the ranged units, with the skirmishes that are expendable after all, but you don't easily micro down Mangonels with skirmishes either. You need a lot of them. They basically need like 1 or 2 damage per shot or something. It's nothing crazy. 4 TCs for Mandatum, not producing villagers, however. It's about to become 4 TCs. It just became 4 TCs for Cynthia as well, who is getting ballistics, is floating lots of wood. I'm not sure if there's a market here anywhere, maybe not. While the Mangonels finally go down, the armies are just melting from Mandatum here. It's ridiculous how Mandatum went from almost 50 army to 18 here to just 3 Mangonels. And she's on break again. She's fleeing her country from occupation. She saw people with weapons, she ran away. So Cynthia with enough stone for a castle. Mandatum is dropping 1 as well. I'm guessing Cynthia will go on the offensive with the castle now. Maybe place it in the middle here. Could also be placed on this side to cover this gold and the resources on that side. And the sneak builder is back at it, just making a sneak base to the side now, going to pop some stables up here for the Byzantines. And camels, because the Britain's player has 3 knights and a Mangonel out on the field. Cynthia wants a forward castle up, but seeing the defensive castle on Mandatum here, that's not going to be going up in that spot. However, semi-ambitious castle, given the armies on the field here. Nah, she has enough armies to protect this, should be fine. More ranges going up as well means eventually we'll be seeing more crossbows. There's definitely wood and gold in the bank to make more crossbows, but they are not being made. And the camel is out. 1 camel from Mandatum, from the sneak stable to the side that Cynthia is eventually going to spot, I think. But there's lots of stuff going on right now, so you can't keep track of everything all the time. Camels coming in from this side as well, so Mandatum must have a stable somewhere else as well. But the castle goes up. Cynthia is dangerously close to being able to click to the Imperial Age, as opposed to the Byzantine player, who admittedly has some discount, as you can see from the resource bar here. Camels doing work here, but Mandatum is behind in economy, is also not ahead in military, and Imperial Age now on the way for Cynthia means that trebuchets will be on the menu to deal with the defensive castle of the Byzantines, which will admittedly take some time, because they are with more hit points. Byzantines buildings 10, 20, 30 and 40% more hit points as you move on through the ages. Well, the sneak base, or sneak stable I should say, has been found. Skirmishers looking for raid damage again, but Mandatum is out-armied here, and there are 3 ranges and about to be 4 ranges for Cynthia producing the crossbows here. Gonna get those Britons Arbalest with 5+5 range, and possibly even 5+6 if you get Yeoman. So funnily enough, if Cynthia gets to Arbalest with Yeoman now, Cynthia will be outranging the Byzantines castles with 5+6 range. Until Mandatum gets Imperial Age Embracer, that is. Out and about with the crossbows here. 30 seconds for Imperial Age, but this is going to be a deadly raid no matter what, because most of the skirmishers are over here. In fact, all of them are over here, except for one. Yeah, I think the Knights should be dealing nicely with this, or are there enough crossbows here to focus on the Knights? The Knights have +2 defense and more Knights running in. Yeah, Cynthia is going to clean this one up. Arbalest Bracer is on the way. There's more than enough wood in the bank to keep pumping out those Arbalests as well. And a Trebuchet, not yet in queue, but probably will be coming around. Lots of gold builders idled here. In fact, that skirmisher raid did do a lot of damage or idle time to Cynthia's economy, but it is now stabilizing. Both bases somewhat intact yet. However, with trebuchets now popping out, Cynthia has a lead going into the trebuchets war in the Imperial Age here. Mandatum has a castle on the hill, as has Cynthia, or at least the potential to push with trebuchets from the hill, but there's lots of arbalests here to defend. And with the cover fire of the castle as well, the skirmishers shouldn't be able to interfere with the Arbs defending here. Second trebuchet on the way out as well, while Mandatum is currently queuing the first one. There are knights out and about for Cynthia as well. Britain's knights, sure, but they'll gather some scouting intel, and they will also try to find spots to raid here. Don't seem to succeed all that much. Oh, they're just running around, and quick house there from Mandatum to stop Cynthia from entering. Scores are just 700 points apart at this stage in the game, so it's a very even game, even set overall. Third trebuchet on the way out as well, and we see the Britain's range advantage in effect here. The skirmishers are supposed to counter archers, but they have 2 less range than the Britons, so that Britain's range can be used to their advantage. The strength of the arbalests will also prevail here against skirmishers in lower mass. Third trebuchet coming out. You could even consider Warwolf, the unique technology for the Britons, for the trebuchets here to be used as a pseudo-onager to deal splash damage with the fireballs. So, Cynthia is actually not using the hill here with the trebs. Could definitely be using the... wants to stay too close to the castle, of course. Maybe it's because of the blue castle's range. But it is 3 trebs pushing, and now panic repairs. So this castle might actually stay up. Speaking of Warwolf, here it comes. And area effect range of 0.5 here, as you can see. That the trebuchet will... now deal splash damage to units. Maybe we'll see it in effect here against this mass of skirmishers once the castle has been dealt with. It's a bit one-sided, the push here, but this is where the armies need to be as well. Neither civ is famous for their mobility, so raiding with like light cav and that sort of thing is not really what your economy is set up for currently. Cynthia could definitely field more arbalests to the field here, looking at the wood and gold in the bank, or more trebuchets. Mandatum, however, will be losing this defensive castle, and Cynthia has gone into several stables to pop out some light cab to help in taking out the skirmishers as well. What's so fascinating about this corner? Earlier on it was Mandatum with a 2 HP female villager here, and now Cynthia has claimed this corner with a half HP male villager. He wants to... He probably wanted to find that woman. Maybe they had a date hid away in the corner here. And this castle still stands. How is this castle still standing? Is Mandatum going to fight this back? This matching the villager numbers is not matching in eco, but Cynthia is also... not with enough counter units to the skirmisher play just yet. Oh, but the stone is running out from Mandatum. Is this the time the castle goes down? No more. There's arbs in the castle as well, so the total arbalest count is 34 here. Mandatum has bought stone to keep repairing, but eventually that's just going to become too expensive here. I think this castle is lost. Light cab increasing in numbers. They can get close to the skirmishers. You could use the arbalest from behind to use their range to take out the skirmishers from a distance as well. Are the Trebs not firing here? They've been firing on the skirms groups to some extent, but Mandatum is dodging it and is somehow keeping this castle alive still. How is this even possible? Light cab joining in though, and that renders the skirmishers less useful here. Finally the castle goes down and Cynthia can keep pushing into Mandatum's base here. It's just Cynthia sending a message. This used to be your corner, now it's mine. Lots of skirmishers going down here. Might have been a werewolf treb hit. The scout cav are hopping in as well. And Dennis is happy to see mass skirmishers here. That's good. Another blast shot, possibly. Oh! 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 Oh, that was actually killing more of the light cab than the skirmisher. That's funny. Werewolf. Werewolf, you traitor, you're killing your own units. They're both fighting a population cap now. We still have the designated counter unit working for Mandatum here, but Cynthia still has lots of wood and gold in the bank, and is 53 on food by now. Could get pump out light cab to deal with the skirmishers. I bet Cynthia wishes bloodlines were an option now. That treb is going to go down even to skirmishers fire. I don't understand the hand cannoneer investment here, but maybe it was a misclick. It's only two of them. Bring up the werewolf's head. Yes. Indeed. More stables going up. 65 on food now. You'd think this was Khmer Hussar spam setup. 150 villagers, that's not doing Cynthia any favor at this point. That means that these stables won't be producing. May need to get rid of some idle villagers now as the skirmishers are closing in. Of course, Cynthia can siege refuge next to the castle here. Has the werewolf trebs to try and take out masses as well, as long as they're just dancing away and avoiding it here. More barracks going up now for Mandatum, going to go into halberdiers against the light cab masses to come. At least eventually we'll see. Oh, a heavy camel? I guess the resources definitely warrant that. Mandatum has been making mainly the trash, so there's lots of gold and food in the bank to be spent. Cynthia's push, it's hard to push the Byzantines, can't really blame them for that. It's they are a defensive civilization. The buildings have more hit points overall. So no more arbs being added. There's still lots of wood and gold in the bank for Cynthia. 10 stables producing scouts now, but once the camels enter the field, and the Byzantine scab archers for that matter, we'll see. See the light cab, Britain's light cab struggling for sure. Imagine if Mandatum had just 5 siege rams. Well, he needed to keep his castle alive, so he's probably didn't consider a siege ram at that point. Castle going up to the side for Cynthia, limiting raid potential from this side. Also getting raids down with camels and light cab over here, so Mandatum has been losing villagers at home base as well, but there are strategic castles and TCs around to keep the economy safe. Still got some arbalists alive. Werewolf trebs might, well, they're targeting buildings, so maybe not, but the light cav pumping in there. Isn't there eco for the camels? I mean, I saw the barracks, but I haven't seen any spearmen popping out. Defense complete. Yeah, he's going for the camels here. The gold heavy, except Byzantine's discount, of course. Counter unit to cavalry play. Keeping that population consistent. Camels joining in now, but they should be dying to ARBs fairly easily. They only have the feudal age defense and the feudal age attack +2 just about to kick in. But still missing that +3. Yeah, they'll be one shot by the ARB mass here. So as long as Cynthia has the ARBs, Mandatum is fine. The army production is only consisting of light cap for Cynthia now, though, so that could be of concern. E-Omen coming in for the Arbalest, so hopefully we'll be seeing more Arbalests on the field. Then with the 5+6 range to come. What a close set indeed. I like that it's 1-1-1-1. And then finally this decided the game, and we don't know who's winning here. Send forth the raiding camels. And wait. He got tired of waiting for his woman in the corner. Now he's back to lumberjacking. Okay, it looks like the camels are running away from the villagers, but they are of course chasing them to kill them. And Cynthia now placing even more farms to keep up that light cab spam to hopefully raid this game back into the Britain's hands. One treb alive here, 3 trebs total for Cynthia, but they're just idling out in the back. And which means Mandatum might be able to complete this castle. The light cap spam not consistent enough to deal with the skirmishers, the trash skirmishers of Byzantines. They are just so cheap to mass. And one win condition for Mandatum here obviously being adding siege trams against Britain's Arbalest. That will soak the Arbalest fire so the skirmishers can fire more freely, but having a meat shield like camels or hussar or whatever, that works as well. You see the camels getting some raid value here, but Cynthia with that ridiculous KD has been focusing skirmishers like crazy and actually has killed 200 more units, but it doesn't really matter if you're not able to push further into enemy base and end it. Cynthia has 2 relics as well, so that means gold income that Mandatum doesn't currently have, or at least not when the gold runs out at home base. But Treb's out now, Skirmass still consistent, Rangers producing 41 skirmishers in the queue, and not going to struggle for food or wood anytime soon either. Even the skirmishers are killing the light cab here, because they are Britain's light cab, they are not Malian's light cab or Sicilian's light cab. They will melt to this kind of aggression. The trebuchet is being dealt with, but this castle might still complete, I think. And this turn, the Byzantines player turn to push back. It's been mining the stone that was in this area. Still got gold to take as well, and tiny slivers of gold over here. Sneaky mangonel to the side for Cynthia. Just hanging out over there. And this castle actually doesn't start building because the Treb or the armies are blocking the foundation here. Might actually be doing Mandatum a favor here, because that castle could easily go down even further forward now. Nightcap coming in again, with Cynthia's economy is struggling a bit more now, or at least the production is. The wood and food is running lower, and the gold is already low. Workers are on strike, fair enough. Another castle goes up, another wave of skirmishers back to raid the Britain's home base. Skirmishers hate archers, so they will also hate the Britons, of course, as a result. 43 hours for Cynthia. They have that Yeoman range, so they have 5+6 range total. But Mandatum keeps pushing with castles here and has another fortification for his armies to seek refuge. This time the castle ranges a lot of production buildings here as well. I don't think Mandatum minds too much the sides, might not even have a lot of that scouted. Just wants to break in at home base and raid Cynthia's economy into oblivion. It's still only light camp for Cynthia. The Arbs are forced to defend at home, and they are getting decent trades against the skirmishers here because of that range, because there are light camp in between. But the Treb will yet again go down here to the camels, and then what does Cynthia do? No gold. Only one Treb. Mainly light cap. Losing villagers. Castle stays as well, although Mandatum will be running out of stone. Probably not worth buying stone to keep that repaired. Where's the market when I need one? Oh, let's find a market. Yeah, stone expensive. 177 gold for stone. You could sell a lot of wood here if you're Mandatum though. 7,000 wood in the bank. Not gonna need that at this point. Relic's gold income has been lost for Cynthia as well, so that's officially only one on gold now for Cynthia, wherever that villager might be. Heavy camels out and about, neglecting the light cab to take out the skirmishers here. Looks like a very strong push for Mandatum at this point. The Trebs pushing this castle to the side as well. There aren't really any armies defending it, so the pikes might get lucky here. But Cynthia is losing ground and is struggling against Imperial Age Byzantines here. Light cab now for the Byzantines as well, as Mandatum is running out of gold. We'll need a speedy unit to keep the raids up here. Mandatum has been fighting at pop cap for a long while though, while Cynthia is now down to 138 and is about to lose more castles. Production buildings will only have a wave of Arbs back, which have been stuck at home for such a long while, to try and keep the aggression out, and that hit and run micro as well. Working against the skirmishers, of course, with 3 more range for the Britain's Arbs, but 34 Arbs, barely even one shooting one skirmisher, so in the end Byzantines are going to come out victorious anyway. Mangonel has been put to use, almost taking out the stable here, but Mandatum just asks villagers to deal with that. It's closing in on 10k wood here, so could definitely sell wood for more gold if need be. If Mandatum even has a market, but I'm pretty sure it does. It's not going to get a huge wood return, but gold return, but it's still 130 gold per 1,000 wood, so it could be like a 700, 800 gold, maybe close to 1,000. Byzantine flat cab, finding the exposed farms over here, will scout that castle over to the side as well. It's now 81 military to 37, and it's almost 100 total population lead for Mandatum here, who is looking to be coming out victorious in this matchup. Cynthia is hanging in there though. It is the deciding game of a final. Still got those 4 TCs, still got at least one of them producing, but the RB situation is dire, and the last castle, the last fortification, very likely to go down here as well. You could even task the light cab in to obstruct repairs here if you're Mandatum, but they'll be needed over here too. Protect the Trebs. One will be going down, but one will keep pushing here. Byzantines do get Hussar as well, so if you somehow are able to find the gold here to get Hussar, could sell all of the wood and get Hussar, and then the light cav out and about will benefit from that for the Byzantines. Cynthia keeps repairing, still has stone to repair, pops into the castle to preserve the villagers and to bring the arbalests over to defend, but I don't think there's no cleaning up the armies. Mandatum actually at 47 military now, so Cynthia somehow holding on still here. But the eco population is more of a concern. The general eco situation is rough, and the map control probably 80-20% in favor of Mandatum here. Yes, it's just the arms mass keeping Cynthia playing here at this point. Loves that our micro archers picked a lot of archer civs in the draft. Did have success with Mayans, but is about to lose the last castle. And more villagers going down to light cav raids as well. This one doesn't even have the right hand side scouted here. Does that know that there are exposed farms over here? Where are the siege rams, Mandatum? You can even afford the siege ram upgrade with the current food setup. 63 on food for Mandatum. Did transition some of the lumberjacks into farmers. Farm placement not exactly of importance at this stage in the game. Just want to get that food income in to keep production going. Are we going to get to 100 skirmishes here? That would be epic, but don't think we're getting there. Stables going up to the left, stables and archery just to the right as well. We want 200 skirms, says Le Denis. It's honestly an option at this point in the game. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it would be fun. Last bit of the arbs about to be focused down by the skirms here now. And then what? GG well played is called. Mandatum takes the final win, but what a set! 5 games total. Obviously equally skilled players. 632 skirmishers total made this game, and the Britons having the light cav as the most creative unit. That's kind of funny. So we got to see Britain's yeoman arbalest, but they had to struggle against Byzantine skirmishers, and how do you even push Imperial Age Byzantines with a working economy at this stage in the game? Even Camel, before light cav here from Mandatum, did conserve lots of gold through the trash efforts. Quite similar uptimes here, some minutes apart, of course, but nothing too crazy. APM chart here showing the Archer's Micro of Cynthia here, the continued Archer's Micro, these spikes here always higher, having to hit and run all the time until there's barely anything left. But great set. Thanks for participating. Congratulations to Mandatum on the win and to Cynthia for the runners-up position.